He's an HR professional and personal development practitioner or coach, and he's helped several years guiding young people, guiding individuals and organizations toward growth, toward balance, and also fulfillment. And this morning, he's here to share his thoughts with us, and we'll unpack some practical strategies. We'll talk about some real life insights and maybe some lessons that can help us not only perform better at work, but also to live fuller lives. And my guest this morning is Joseph Asante. He's an HR, like I said, and a personal development coach. And he joins me this morning for this conversation. Hello, Joseph. Good morning.
Good morning, Nature.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, sir. How are you doing too?
Yes, I'm doing very well too. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's get into our conversation this morning. So, hello.
Yes, sir. I can hear
All
you.
right. Okay. Great. Um, so we're talking about um,
Mm-hmm.
the harmony between your personal and professional goals. And that is what, let's begin on a very personal note. Now, when we say harmony between personal and professional goals, it can mean different things to different people. And for some people, I'm sure it's about time, others, it's about fulfillment. From your perspective, how do you define
Right.
this harmony we're talking about this morning?
Right. Thank you very much for having me. And please confirm if you can still hear me.
Yes, I think I can hear you. We can manage that.
All right. So, good morning to you, Nature, and good morning to your cherished listeners. It's a great privilege to be on today's show and for us to discuss all important, sorry, this important subject matter. So, just as the theme or the topic says, creating harmony. So, creating harmony has to do with you being intentional about what exactly you want to do with your personal life and professional life. So, it connotes that there may not be enough time for you to create that balance or that harmony between your personal goals and your professional goals. But I have to be intentional and create time for it. So, personal goals could be that you want to, say, gain X amount of weight, you want to lose X amount of weight, you want to make time for your family, you want to make time for extracurricular activities. Maybe you love football, you love movies. You've noticed that because of your work life, you are not making much time for certain things. Again, it could also be that perhaps before you started working, you used to do a lot of personal development sessions like reading books, going for conferences, going for seminars, and what have you. But due to the demands of your work, you're not able to really make time for such things. Therefore, you want to make time for your personal goals. It could also be that you used to hang out with your friends maybe quarterly, twice in a week or something. But due to the demands of your work, you are not able to make time for your peers or for your friends. These are some goals you want to make to ensure that, in as much as you are getting the bags, you'll be able to also make time for the people that mean a lot to you. On the flip side is your professional goals. Your professional goals or your professional development, you are looking at the work that you are doing or the career that you are into. Now, for your professional goals, you want to be able to say get a professional certification in the next 2 or 3 years. Your professional goals, you want to, maybe you are currently an entry level staff. In the next 3 or 4 years, you want to be able to get to mid-level management or something. But because of the personal goals you have and the professional goals you have, there may not be that balance or that harmony between your personal and professional goals. So on a broader spectrum, the professional development, you are looking at the things you desire to achieve in line with your duty, whether you want to get professional certification, you want to advance in your career, you want to become better, you want to be promoted, a number of things that revolve around your work life. And the personal goals has to do with the things that make you you, apart from the things that make your workplace.
Hmm. Right. I like how you've broken that down. Now, even though we all want this harmony, many people find themselves struggling to achieve it. I want to know, why do so many people
Right.
struggle to find that balance?
That's a good question, and I think it's it's prevalent amongst many people, even well-accomplished people still struggle to find a fine balance between their personal and their professional goals. So I would say that
Hello, hello,
your personal
hello,
life may be demanding something from you. If you have a family, if you have a lover or a girlfriend or boyfriend, he or she may be putting up certain demands on you. If you have a family, he or
hello.
she may be putting up certain demands on you.
I think we lost Joseph.
Unrealistic
Hello,
expectations.
hello, Joseph. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, please can you hear me?
Yes, I think we're struggling with the
Hello.
network a bit, and so we'll reconnect you. Then we can continue the conversation. I hope that's fine. All
All
right.
right, sir.
Okay.
That's fine, sir.
All right. To the Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM. And we continue our conversation now. I mean, if you just tuned in, we're talking this morning about creating a harmony between your personal and professional goals. And that's a very important conversation because of how things are looking these days. And like I indicated in my introduction, I said that the lines between work and life often blur. Many of us find ourselves asking ourselves, how do I succeed in my career without losing myself in the process? And how do I process or pursue my personal dreams while meeting the professional expectations that there are of me? And so that is what we're talking about this morning. And we are joined by a very special guest. He's an HR professional and also a professional development practitioner or coach. And he is helping us have this conversation this morning. We've started a conversation already, but because of our network, we had to go off. But we're back now and we'll continue the conversation. Joseph, good morning once again.
Good morning, my brother.
All right, great.
Am I
Welcome.
audible, please?
Yes, you are very audible. Welcome back. All right, so
Thank you, sir.
yes, so I actually asked why people struggle to find that balance between their professional and personal lives, and I think you started talking about it. You may want to take it again.
All right. Thank you once again for having me, and a very good morning to our church listeners once again. So earlier, I was saying that one of the factors is unrealistic expectations. You have a personal goal, you have a personal life, you have a professional life as well. So your personal life, say you have a family or you have a boyfriend, you have a girlfriend, you have some friends that you hang out with, and they are making certain demands on you. They expect you to sort of dance to their tune. They always want you to be at their beck and call. If you have a spouse, a girlfriend, he or she will be like, you don't have time for me. I always work minded. And that becomes a problem. On the flip side, your boss will also be demanding something from you. In as much as I'll be giving you a job description, there may be times where your boss may be expecting you to do certain things beyond your job description.
Mm.
So that unrealistic expectation makes it quite difficult for people to draw in between the personal life and the professional life. Another factor I think is a lack of self awareness. Self awareness has become a very difficult thing for many people. It has become a very difficult thing for many people.
Mm.
It was Plato who said that man, know thyself. And because we lack this self awareness, we don't know what our strengths are, we don't know what our weaknesses are, we really find it very difficult to achieve both our personal goals and our professional goals. And I think finally to also be about poor time management.
Mm.
Poor time management. When we are not able to schedule specific time or allot specific time for specific things, that also ensures that we are able to draw the fine balance between achieving our personal goals and our professional. This is not exhaustive. There are a number of factors, but I believe that essentially the unrealistic expectation, lack of self-awareness, and poor time management are some of the factors why people struggle to find this balance.
Mm. I see. And so once they are able to deal with those three things, then they should be able to do fine, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Mm. Right. But tell me, what is the difference between work-life balance and work-life harmony? Now, sometimes we hear these two words, and
Right.
they are almost used always interchangeably, balance and also harmony. But I suspect that they don't mean exactly the same thing. Can you help us understand the difference?
That's a good question, actually. That's a good question. And trying to decipher between work-life balance and work-life harmony may sound the same, but there's a thin line between work-life balance and work-life harmony.
Mm.
I think work-life balance is basically having a separation between your work and personal life. So in the sense that individuals will be able to allocate time and say energy to various aspects of their lives. So
Mm.
if you work from Monday to Friday, that's your work. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, on Saturdays you may go for an outdooring, you may go for a conference, you may go for a seminar, or even sometimes after work, after 5 p.m., if you're a guy in love football, you want to watch your Champions League. If you're a lead, you want to watch your telenovela, your K-drama series. That is a work-life balance. So you make time for work, and then you make time for other things that are really related to your work.
Mm.
And then the work-life harmony. Hmm. I'll say that that one is more like an
Okay.
integrated approach in the sense that both your personal and your professional life are embedded at the same time.
Okay.
So, for instance, I'm at work. While I'm working, I love listening to music. I love watching football or something. While I'm working, simultaneously, I'm doing the things I love to do outside of my work. So I
Right.
won't wait for me to finish work before I go and do whatever I love to do. So if I'm a podcast addict, while I'm working, I'm listening to something. That is a work-life harmony. So I've integrated my work-life balance, sort of, or I've integrated my extracurricular activities into my daily routine while I'm working. And that
Mm.
brings a synergy or a harmony between my work and then the things I love to do. So that's the thin line, I think, between
Mm.
the work-life balance and then the work-life harmony.
Harmony.
Yes.
I see. I'm curious to ask. I mean, in terms of the harmony, how
Hmm.
different is that from multitasking?
We can actually say that harmony can also be synonymous to multitasking
Mm.
because harmony has to do with let's say we use singing as an example. When there's a lead singer and then there are backers and they are all singing, so they are singing in unison, you notice that they may not sound the same, but it sounds very good to the ears.
Mm.
In that same vein, the multitasking or the work-life harmony, it's about you doing various things at the same time, but the end goal or the end result is for you to achieve one particular task.
Mm.
So if you are supposed to meet a deadline by say 12 o'clock p.m., whilst you are working towards that deadline, simultaneously, you are also either playing your music. You are either some people can even be working while they are talking to a friend on phone. They
Mm.
are multitasking and they are also integrating the harmony aspect of it because they know that after work, if I don't want to call this friend of mine, believe you me, it's going to be difficult.
Right.
So while I'm working, let me also call this person. Let me beat time or let me buy time by
Mm.
doing what I'm supposed to do, i.e., I have to meet the deadline, and also I will also be able to, you know, just make time for the things that are also important to me apart from my work life.
Mm.
Yes.
I see. Okay, you sound quite far. Maybe you may want to draw closer to the microphone, sorry, to your phone a bit, so that we can hear you louder. All right, so let's continue the
Okay.
conversation. But let me announce the phone lines just
Am
in
I am
case.
I am I sounding better now, please?
Yes, relatively better now. Thank you. Let me announce the phone lines just in case anybody wants to text us. So, if you want to get in touch with us, I would love to hear from you. Please send us a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019. If you have a question, a comment, you may feel free to send that to that number. And also, you can call me on 0303956641, 0303956641, and we'll give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us. We're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment on any of our posts and we will we'll read your messages for you. All right. So, Joseph, let's continue the conversation. So,
Right.
now you've explained what all of that means. Let's talk practical. Now, many times
Mm,
our jobs push us in one direction, while our
mm,
personal values also pull us in another. How can
mm.
individuals bring these two together so that they don't constantly feel in conflict, basically? So, what I'm asking is, how can individuals align their personal values with their career goals?
Mm. That's also a good question. Whenever we
Hello. Hello, Joseph. Hello. Back on the line. Joseph, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
All right, great. So thanks so much for coming back on. Um, all right, so I was asking that you should tell us how people, individuals really, can align their personal values with their career goals.
All right. Once again, thank you. And I hope there will be a harmony between your network and my network. Right.
Hopefully.
So earlier, I was saying that whenever we are doing career development training sessions, one of the factors we say individuals must be mindful of is your values. Now, as individuals, we ought to operate by a set of values. So, what am I trying to drive at? In looking at that alignment between your personal values and career goals, if you are going into a particular career and that career doesn't align with your values, or you yourself, you don't even know your set of values, obviously there's going to be a struggle. So when you are able to clearly identify your values, you are able to clearly, for instance, if family life is a value, it's a priority to you, and you are in an organization that also prioritizes family life, there's going to be that synergy. But if you are in an organization and then they don't prioritize family life, you prioritize that as a value, there's going to be a conflict between that career you're going into and your personal value. So it is very imperative for individuals to clearly define their set of values before they go into a particular career. But in our part of the world, it's sometimes very difficult for you to just say that you want to go into something because of your values. Because one, hunger may be staring at you in the face, family may be staring at you, and you also want to meet certain demands. So you just accept any and everything, and you notice that in the course of you chasing that career, so to speak, you end up struggling because there's no synergy or harmony between your values and that of the organization or the career that you are into. Yes.
Right. I would appreciate if you could give like a practical example, maybe for an individual. I mean, who is merging or balancing really, or aligning their individual goals or values with their career goals.
I'll use yourself as an example. I've known you for some years now, and one of your values is you value integrity, and then your Christian faith is very important to you. And the organization you are working in now, it's also founded on Christian faith or the principles of Christ. And you are someone who is honest. You cherish honesty or integrity as a value. You also cherish teamwork as a value. So where you are integrating your personal values and your organization's values, and it is flowing seamlessly.
All right.
I hope you are following me. So that is a practical example. On the flip side, if maybe someone is in a different religion and the person doesn't value basic things, the person believes that we have to cut corners, we have to do all kinds of things just to get our way. And the organization, i.e. ZFM, that person comes in there and wants to do certain things that may not be the right thing. The person is going to struggle because there's no synergy between the person's personal value and the career or the organization that person finds him or herself. And therefore, there will always be conflict. I don't know if this helps.
Yeah. I think it's quite clear. It's quite clear. Now, what role? I mean, you were talking earlier about self-awareness, and I mean, it's often said that self-awareness is the foundation of growth. Whatever you want to do, once you understand who you are and you know who you are, it becomes easy. Now, but when it comes to balancing life and work, how much of a role does self-awareness really play?
So self-awareness is something imperative, like we've already established in this conversation. So when you are aware of yourself, when you are aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your priorities, these things will ensure that you make decisions that are in line with your career and your personal life. And therefore, you'll be able to set some realistic goals and develop strategies to achieve the balance and the harmony. For example, I know one of my strengths is, let me say, making friends happens to be one of my strengths. And then I also know that sometimes I can be a bit shy. So because of that self-awareness, when it comes to creating that harmony, For instance, I'm working somewhere and I'm supposed to mingle effortlessly because I have that sense of self awareness, knowing very well that I have this weakness that could be shyness or even trying to speak publicly. It's going to and I'm giving a rule like I'm a PR or I'm a customer service representative or personnel. It's going to be quite tough for such a person because I know my strengths, I know my weakness. But if you don't know it at all, sometimes we just want to embrace any and everything because of the demands that we find ourselves in. You'll notice that because you don't even know who you are, you trying to have that balance. And if you know yourself very well, when you're overwhelmed, I think maybe in the subsequent conversation, we'll be even touch on that. When you know yourself very well, you can even tell what actually triggers me when I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
How do I handle issues when I'm overwhelmed? When I'm angry at colleagues or something, how do I ensure that I don't go and vent my anger on my family members? So when you have that self-awareness or that sense of self, you'll be able to draw the fine balance between your work life and then your personal life.
So it plays a very critical role
Absolutely
in there. I see. Now, I know one of the very important things, I mean, like you said, we've known each other for some time. Boundaries are very important.
Right.
But in our culture, sometimes saying no can be seen as laziness, especially at the workplace. You know, sometimes, your boss or somebody wants you to do something and you say no, and it looks like, oh, you are lazy, or it shows sometimes a lack of commitment. How can professionals set healthy boundaries at work while still being seen as serious and committed?
That's a dicey situation. And there's a way to set the boundaries that wouldn't come off as you are being rude, you are being disrespectful, and lazy, just as you said. So in certain organizations, I think every organization, there should be what we call the communication schedule, where you know that at this time we are supposed to do this. In this week, we are focusing on this. Next week, we are doing this. So when the communication schedule or the task sheet is there, it makes it very easy for people to know what to do at specific times. Of course, there may be a few unforeseen circumstances where you would have to attend to certain issues. But then again, it boils down to the communication. If you want me to do something at a particular time, and then I know that at that same time I'm supposed to meet a particular deadline, it's about dialogue. I should be able to have that conversation. Let's just ask you, Treb, you are saying you want me to do this at, say, 11 o'clock. But 11 o'clock a.m., I'm supposed to get this thing done. What time works best? Do you think we can work it, or we can work around it maybe 1 o'clock p.m. or 2 o'clock p.m.? You have said that you are trying to set the boundary. At the same time, you are creating an alternative. So when communicating a boundary, of course, sometimes you just have to be assertive and just say, oh, no, I don't think I can work on this in a very nice way. I know people like that. They can say no to you while they're smiling, while they're laughing. You won't even take it personal. Someone who will say no and give you a very stern face or a stern look, and that one will come off as you are being arrogant, you are being lazy. Whenever I give you something to do, you are always saying that you have something to do. So it boils down to the communication. And when you are creating that boundary, try and create an alternative. So if this time doesn't work, can we do it around, say, 3 hours time or in the next 5 hours? And the person will see that, oh, in as much as you can't do the thing right now, you are actually open to doing it at a later time. I don't know if...
I get it, but what if a later time doesn't work? So, for instance, it's something that you need to do like now or never.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
Now, are you the only person in the team? That will be the first question. Are you the only person in the team, or maybe you have the expertise to do that?
To be able to do that, or maybe the other colleagues are also occupied with other assignments.
Right. So, like I said, it's a very dicey situation. Sometimes some of these things, they are situational dependent or situational specific. So it depends on what you are calling urgent. You know, some people will call something urgent, but really speaking, it is not really urgent. I learned this from a medical friend of mine, a medical doctor. He was saying that in the medical space, there's nothing called emergency or something called urgent. Because when you are bringing, if I'm wrong, then that person is also wrong. When you are bringing your you are just trying to give everybody pressure to attend to right away. They will take their time, try to assess the situation, and sometimes we interpret it as they are not dutiful, they are
They are
not acting with
lackadaisical.
urgency.
Yeah.
But they say that your first response is very critical.
Okay.
If the medical professional goes in there rushing, the person may even do a wrong diagnosis.
Okay.
So what you are calling urgent in the eye of the medical professional, it is not urgent. The person has to just calm down and try to assess, scrutinize the whole thing, and provide the needed remediation. In that same vein, so you just have to try and read in between the lines. This thing that this person is calling urgent, it must be done now. Is it really, really urgent? And it boils down again to the communication I said earlier. Once you have that dialogue, you explore, you probe, you notice that, oh, it may be urgent, although I can't work on it now. You let me just reach out to this other person to do it. Once we create these alternatives, it will make the harmony very effective and efficient in our various workplaces and our personal lives as well.
I see. So, I mean, anybody who is listening to us this morning will probably might have picked something along those lines. But let's talk about time management. It was one of the things you mentioned. And I know time management always comes up in discussions like this. But beyond just to-do list, because that's as like it's always a go-to thing, to have a to-do list and all of that. Beyond that, what real strategies or tools do you recommend for professionals to manage their time effectively?
I normally recommend a routine in the sense that when you get to work, if work starts at 8 o'clock a.m., don't get to work at 8 o'clock a.m. You're already late. If work is supposed to start at 8 and you're getting there at 8 o'clock, the tendency for you to rush your tasks for that day is very high because you are come to work at the time you are supposed to start working. So you won't really take your time to unpack what you're supposed to do for that particular day. So a routine in the sense that you get to work 30 minutes before 8. So let's say you get to work 7:30 a.m. every day. When you get to work, you try and write something that you journal your thoughts. Okay, so today I'll work on this at this time. I'll do this. I'll do that. You are still doing the fact sheet, so to speak, but you are rather doing it 30 minutes before work will actually start. So you prioritize everything that you do. That is one aspect of it. The second aspect is what I call the trade-offs. Trade-offs in the sense that, in this surfing age, you can be on your phone, you can be on Instagram, you can be on other social media platforms for more than 2 hours. You will not even recognize it.
That's true.
And the system has been built in such a way that you scroll and scroll and scroll, and it will never come to an end. So the trade-off, you ask yourself, what actually takes much of my time? And if your phone helps you, if you have that digital well-being on your phone, like I do, sometimes I just go to digital well-being, just notice, you spend 3 hours on WhatsApp. You ask yourself, what exactly did I do on WhatsApp with the 3 hours? Then they give you another breakdown, maybe 45 minutes. YouTube, you have used 1 hour, 15 minutes on this app. So the trade-off, you begin to ask yourself, what can I let go in order to help me buy more time to do the things that I'm supposed to do? It's still important to self-awareness. If you know that whenever you have access to Wi-Fi, the tendency for you to be scrolling on Instagram is high. Once you see Wi-Fi, just advise yourself not to connect every time because your weakness is Wi-Fi. Because of the Wi-Fi, you're unable to manage your time properly. Are you following me, my brother? Yes, so that's also another aspect of it. And secondly, you can also have an accountability partner to help you manage your time. So you talk to a friend of yours or a colleague of yours that at this particular time or today, I want to be able to achieve this. I want to be able to do this and that. At 3 o'clock p.m., call me and ask me if I've been able to do whatever I was going to do. That accountability partner, if you are being very genuine to that person can also help you manage your time. And finally, I think it's assertiveness. Sometimes you just have to say no in a very nice way that I cannot do this at this time, just to help you manage your time properly. And what I even forgot to mention earlier was you must even plan your day a night before the day comes. For instance, today, you plan your day last night. Some people like to iron on the day they are going to work. you are supposed to be at work 8 o'clock. As at 7 o'clock, and I'm going to iron. But if you had ironed last night, if you had polished your shoes last night, put your bag somewhere, the things you need for today, you prepare for that day a night before the day will come. All these things will help you manage your time effectively. Yeah.
Very, very good submission. So let's also move. I mean, there's a lot when it comes to time management. There's a lot to talk about. But because of our time, I'd want us to move to other things, so that we can brush the surface of a few other things before we go. Now, sometimes people don't even realize they are losing themselves in the process of chasing their career goals. What are the red flags that tell someone they may be giving up too much, maybe for their personal life or for work? I mean, much of their personal life for work. Essentially, what I'm asking is, how can someone identify when they are sacrificing too much for their personal life? I mean, too much of their personal life for work.
The first red flag I would say is your mental health. Your mental health, in the sense that once you notice that you don't have sanity, so to speak, in your mind, you are always troubled, you are always anxious, you are always overthinking because of the work that you are doing. It is affecting your mental makeup or your mental health. That is the first red flag. And another one will be your physical health. Apart from the mental health, there's your physical health. If you notice that your health is deteriorating, today you have headache, tomorrow you have this, you have migraine, constantly. It's not something that happens once in a while. It is consistent, it is persistent, because you are overworking yourself. That is also a red flag. Your mental health, your physical health. And also, when you are gradually disconnecting or neglecting the people that matter to you. For instance, like I said earlier, if you are married and you notice that you see your wife only, say, on Saturdays, or whenever you see your wife, she's asleep. You see your children in the evenings when they are asleep, because you wake up at 5, you are leaving the house. You come back after 8. The time you come, they are asleep. Saturday, if you want to see them, they will say something like overtime. You have to come and work overtime. So you see your children momentarily, then you are off to work. You notice that there's a neglect in the things that matter to you, i.e. your family life. Even if you are not married, and then you also have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or someone you connect deeply with, and then for over 3 weeks, over a month, they are not even able to talk to even 15 minutes or 20 minutes. That is also a red flag for you to know that something is taking more of yourself. And as a result, you are going to lose yourself. And when you are also exhausted, you are burnt out. You are constantly burnt out. So now you notice that you are not working for fulfillment. You are just working to get the bags or to get the money and just to pay bills. You should know that something is wrong. So there are a number of red flags or a number of them, but I think essentially your mental health or your physical health, feeling exhausted or burnt out, and then you are neglecting your personal relationships or activities. Even if you go to church, you're a Muslim, and you notice that because of your work, you don't even make time to even pray. You used to go for conferences, seminars, you used to go for crusades or what have you. But because of the demands of your work, all these things are on hold. It is time for you to know that, my brother or my sister, you are overworking yourself. Yes.
So how do you navigate that when you realize that you're overworking yourself? But of course, the work must also be done. How do you navigate that?
I think sometimes, I may be wrong, but in our part of the world, sometimes trusting people or delegating tasks to certain people is quite difficult for us. We always want to be in charge. So some of the tasks or some of the things that we ought to do, some of them you can actually outsource. But because maybe what you are even doing, you are just cutting corners or doing all kinds of things. You don't even want someone to discover what you are doing in your absence. So people would prefer to always be in charge rather than delegating, rather than trusting someone, rather than mentoring someone to take over whatever he or she is doing. Because we are not ready to do some of these things, we will prefer to overwork ourselves. And maybe your job or your career is structured in a way that you can't actually outsource everything. That is absolutely fine. But the self-awareness will come in again. you have to really ask yourself, why am I overdoing these things? What is actually in it for me? So if you're not able to be very honest with yourself and then and be willing to delegate, be willing to feel in quotes useless sometimes because someone else will take the credit or take the shine. You always overwork yourself trying to impress people to come off like you're a hard worker. Meanwhile, you are actually deteriorating your whole health and then the things that really matter to you.
I see. All right. So if you just tune in, this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nietzsche Hammond. And this morning, I am speaking to Joseph Asante. He's an HR professional and a personal development coach. And he's helping us understand exactly how to create that harmony between your personal and your professional goals. And it's been a very great conversation so far. There's still some more things we are going to look at in the next few minutes. But if you just tuned in, you can join the conversation. Please feel free to send me a WhatsApp on 0544321019. If you have questions, text us 0544321019. Feel free to send a voice note or a text and then I will read them or play them for you. You can as well call us on 03039566641, 03039566641, and then we'll give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. Like I indicated, we're streaming live on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please visit these platforms, drop a comment, and I will read them for you as well. All right, Joseph, let's continue the conversation. I want us to shift to the organizational side. Now, you are an HR. So from an HR perspective, how can companies actually step in to help their employees achieve this balance instead of leaving them to figure it out alone? How can they do that?
All right. So in HR, it's often said that the greatest asset of an organization is the people. Without the people, there's no organization.
True.
Without the employees, there's no Z Multimedia. So an organization is an organism that grows. And an organization can only grow when the people are also growing or the people are satisfied. Now, from an HR perspective, over the years, one of the predominant messages or recommendations that we are preaching or embarking on is offering flexible work arrangements. Offering flexible work arrangements. What does that mean? So flexible working arrangements, traditionally, we sometimes start work at 8 o'clock a.m. and end at 5 o'clock p.m.
Yeah.
Or start at 8:30 a.m. and end at 4:30. That is the structured duration for us to work. But a flexible work arrangement can be that rather than starting work at 8 o'clock, I can come in and start at, say, 7:30 a.m. and close by 3 o'clock p.m. Because the result or the end goal is for me to achieve the desired result, the desired aim. That is where we are going. So rather than just coming in the office, sit down from 8 waiter until 5 o'clock before I go. Meanwhile, I finish my class at 2 o'clock p.m. That's one of the recommendations or one of the things that HRs are trying to preach. Let me use the word preach or recommend to employers or to business owners. That's one aspect of it. And there's also what we call the compressed work week. Compressed work week in the sense that rather than coming to work Monday to Friday, someone can come to work Monday to Thursday and ensure that whatever he or she is supposed to do, that person can do in 3 days. They have compressed the normal Monday to Friday to Monday to Wednesday or Monday to Thursday.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. Okay, I think it's better. Now go ahead.
All right. So the compressed work, like I was saying, instead of doing your Monday to Friday, you rather do Monday to Wednesday. Okay. And ensure that whatever you are supposed to do in that week, you get it done. And then someone else will also continue from, say, Wednesday to Friday. So there's that structure, there's that arrangement.
Okay.
Another thing to HRs we are recommending or we recommend is the remote work. In a sense that, so in some organizations, they do 11 days in, 11 days out. That means that 11 days you come to the office and 11 days you work at home. That is the remote work, creating that structure for employees to find that harmony or that balance. And also, there's what we call the family culture or the open culture or the open door policy. Yes, the open door policy. Sorry, not open culture, open door policy. Open door policy simply means that you can walk to your manager or to your boss and have a discussion with that person without you trying to book an appointment. In in certain organizations, before you even speak to your CEO, you must book an appointment. But the open door policy says you just walk to your CEO's office, you just knock, you just ask him or her if he or she has a few minutes to spare. If he or she has a few minutes to spare, you discuss your issues with him or her, and then try and find the remediations that can help you become effective and achieve that balance or that harmony in your personal life and then your professional life as well. So there are a number of them we can talk about trying to even develop a policy, a work-life balance policy. Each house can develop work-life balance policies, what we sometimes call happy hour. We also call some happy hour session in the sense that, say, once in a month, the last Friday of every month after work, we just break bread, there's kebab, there's music, just trying to release the stress. It's been a very tired week, just for you to hang out with a few colleagues and just exchange some pleasantries and get to know a few people. So there are a number of them, Trevi, a number of them that HRs can actually implement to ensure that the balance or the harmony is there for our cherished employees.
I see. You talk about policies. I was actually going to come to that. I don't know. Are there other policies you may want to mention or highlight that you have seen that encourage both harmony and productivity beyond the open door policy and then I think the happy hour one that you mentioned?
Yeah. So there's the wellness programs or the employee assistance programs. There can be a policy on wellness program. Wellness program meaning that there will be a policy. HR will come with a particular policy on how to manage the overall well-being of employees. So there will be a policy on, say, some employees have access to medical insurance. You can go to some designated hospitals of the organization, and then you can go for medical checkup. You have access to drugs. So there will be a policy on that. So the policy can be that 10% of your annual gross will be allocated for your medical expenses. That's the policy on the wellness program. And there could also be employee assistance programs, say quarterly or bi-weekly. You have mental health sessions. You have certain extracurricular activities just to help employees strike that balance or harmony in their personal and then their professional lives. Also, maybe professional development opportunities. Sometimes people often even say this when we're growing up. We used to hear this thing a lot. People will say that maybe after SHS, the person will say, I'm going to work for a while, gather money, and go to school. Sometimes employees want to further their education. They want to get some professional certifications. So they are trying to overwork themselves just to get money and just maybe become a chartered HR, chartered accountant, whatever.
Yeah.
But there are certain organizations with policies that say that if you go and write a professional exam or you take a professional course, the organization will reimburse it. The organization will foot the bill. So you have lessened the burden of the employee trying to overwork him or yourself to get money to go and sit for a professional exam. So there's a policy on that, professional development opportunities, where the organization will reimburse or the organization will even pre-finance your professional certification exam. And then there could be some arrangement. Some you pay back later. Some they will either bond you. If you are paid for a professional certification, you are obliged to stay with us for the next 2 years. Failure to do so will lead to so and so.
Right.
These are some of the qualities on the professional development opportunity. Once these policies are implemented, employees may not necessarily overstretch themselves trying to gather money to attain this, attain that, do this, do that. Some even do car loans. Car loans, if you want to buy a car but you don't have the money, we'll give you an amount of money and you pay in the next 5 years. That is a policy. And all these things ensure that employees will have that harmony or balance that they are desiring for. Yes.
I see. Now, I know that culture usually trickles down from leadership. How things are done in every organization usually comes from leadership. Now, if managers and leaders themselves are always overworked, teams also get to feel, they feel pressure to do the same. How can leaders model the right balance for their teams?
That's a sensitive topic, leadership. It was John C. Maxwell who said that everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yeah.
And to buttress John C. Maxwell's quote, I came across a quote by Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein said that setting an example is not a means of influencing another. it is the only means of influencing others.
Wow.
Setting an example is not a means of influencing another. It is the only means of influencing others. What it means is that if the leaders themselves or the managers themselves, they are not a replica, representation or a model of whatever you are trying to achieve, it will be very difficult for the employees to even do that kind of thing. So I know of a CEO who, on Saturdays, he plays football. One of these astroturfs, he gathered some of his area boys, and then they just play football for about 1 hour, 30 minutes or so, and then you go back to your normal life after the football. That's on a Saturday. Sometimes on a holiday, some CEOs try to organize some corporate work session, something. So if the leaders themselves are not an epitome of whatever we are preaching, it's very difficult for even the employees to buy into this concept of harmony or balance, or in the name of you must work. But once I see that my CEO even makes time to go to Zen Gardens on Friday nights, my boss on Saturdays will be sending me some wedding invitation. I don't know the person, but just come, let's go and have fun. I will know that it's not all about the work, because my boss or my manager is, I've set the example, I've set the precedence. Therefore, it's very easy for me to follow whatever my boss is saying. And also, if the CEOs are able to have open communication, not just CEOs, maybe your manager, your line manager, your supervisor, open communication. Certain departments that I know of, they actually have a system or a structure that after every 3 months or every quarter, we'll do a hangout session. The boss will be there, the line manager will be there. So if my boss will be at the hangout session, how busy am I for me not to come for the hangout session? Right. So when we do some of these things and more, we'll be able to influence employees as managers or as leaders, and then we'll also buy the concept of harmony or the balance you are talking about, not just getting the money, and then it will be at the expense of your health and the things that really matter to you. Yeah.
I see. Now, and when organizations get it right, when they are able to do some of the things that we are suggesting, when they truly support their employees, what is the result? How does it affect motivation and even retention?
It will lead to increased job satisfaction, Trevi. Increased job satisfaction, and then it will lead to work engagement. Now, many times in our part of the world, we don't really work for satisfaction. We work for the money, and the money ends up paying bills. So it was this Greek philosopher, Confucius, who said that choose a job you love and you never have to work a day in your life.
Right.
Choose a job you love and you never have to work a day. You love your job. It's very obvious whenever you sit behind the console and you're speaking. In addition to the remuneration, you are getting that satisfaction.
Yeah.
So when these policies are put in place, it will lead to increased job satisfaction and engagement. Also, it will foster a sense of loyalty and commitment, because the employee will feel that my organization or my boss thinks about my well-being. They are not just interested about me getting the results or trying to get the work done. They are actually interested in my life after work. So it will also lead to that loyalty bit from the employee. The person will feel, and not even entitled, the person will feel dedicated. Let me use that word, dedicated to the work, because he or she knows that apart from the results that are demanded from me or of me, my workplace or my boss actually thinks about my family, thinks about my personal life, thinks about everything that concerns me apart from the getting the results and or actually getting the money. And also, it will create a sense of belonging or a sense of community.
Yeah.
In the sense that we spend averagely, say, 8 hours in our various workplaces. So if I leave home at 6:30 a.m. and get to work by 7:30 a.m. and I'll leave, say, 5:30 p.m., that's more than 8 hours. But if I know that when I leave home and I come to work, if home is peaceful, if the house is peaceful, and the workplace is also peaceful, it will create that sense of belongingness. The employee will feel that I belong to a family or to an institution that thinks about me. And that feeling or that mindset will generate the dedication of the community I talked about earlier. Now, the employee will become very loyal or committed to the organization because that sense of belongingness or community has been created. And
Mm.
overall, it will minimize the turnover rate in the organization. People will just stop leaving the organization because they know that if I leave this place and I go to a toxic work environment, it's going to affect my well-being. It will affect my family, and to even make things worse, I may not be getting the remuneration I even want from from that
Organization.
other organization. Yes,
Mm.
I'm sorry I'm speaking too fast because of time.
Yeah.
Uh, yes, I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay.
I may not be able to get the remuneration from the other organization because of the toxic work environment. So essentially, these are some of the things that will lead to the
Mm.
motivation with the job satisfaction or the engagement. I spoke about the turnover, the sense of loyalty, commitment, and a sense of community or belonging. Yes.
Mm. Okay. Because of our time, Joseph, because of our time, we will try to wrap up. But let's talk about now. If someone feels overwhelmed right now, what is the very first step they should take? And I want us to be very practical with this one.
Mm. So the first step you must take when you feel overwhelmed is to accept that you are overwhelmed.
Okay.
Yes, sometimes we can be overwhelmed, but we want to try to be too optimistic, and then we end up being in a state of denial.
Mm.
So, first off, accept that you are overwhelmed. Secondly, after you have accepted it, you now ask yourself, who can I talk to? So, if what I'm doing as my profession, I notice that I'm overwhelmed, the first question after I've accepted is, who can I talk to?
Mm.
I look through either my contacts or even my workspace. Who can I actually go and confine in that? My brother, my sister. The nature of the work is so demanding that I'm not able to actually have time for my personal life and then also work effectively. What
Right.
do you recommend? That is also another step. Now, thirdly, after the person has spoken to you or the person even refer you to either the HR or to a superior to try and guide you on how you can overcome that challenge.
Mm.
The next thing is for you to actually identify the cause of the overwhelming nature. There's what we call the law of cause and effect. To every effect, there's a cause. Sometimes you are overwhelmed because you are procrastinating too much,
Okay.
or you compile the task, you compile your deadlines. And this even happened to us way back in school. If you don't study for a number of weeks and you hear there's interim assessment, you hear there's an exam coming up, and night before the paper,
And
you
you
now
want
want
to
to cram
study.
everything.
Yeah.
And because of that attitude, we bring that same attitude to our various workplaces, and we always end up compiling things, and we see we're overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed, you just throw your hands in despair and just give up. So practically, do things. There's a phrase I came across called hasten slowly. You are not rushing, you are not slow as well. So to overcome that thing, try and break tasks into let me say tiny or bits and pieces. Just break them down slowly, gradually, one step at a time. Baby steps. Today, just if you are able to achieve just 1 out of 10 of your task, you take the box. Next day, you do something. So don't. There's an HR that I look at. She says that don't do. But in the sense that you say that you like to work under pressure, so you wait when the pressure has mounted. That's when you want to actually do something. That is a good guy. You'll be overwhelmed and you end up complaining. But once you do things one step at a time, slow but sure, you'll be able to overcome that overwhelming nature. And then finally, I would say that you must also go back to the essential time management techniques you spoke about earlier. Do your trade-offs and ensure that you manage your time effectively and you not end up being overwhelmed. Yes.
Right, but young professionals often start their careers with so much energy, but sometimes they burn out quickly because they don't set boundaries very early enough. What advice would you give to them?
Very simple. Don't try to impress anyone. Don't try to, because sometimes as young professionals, whenever we enter a new space or a new place, we want to bring a different kind of energy, different kind of enthusiasm. We are trying to outdo ourselves. And by doing so, you notice that you will not be able to maintain or be consistent whatever you're trying to bring on board. So my advice is don't try to impress anyone. Just be yourself. Work diligently, get the results, but don't try to over impress people and try to create that notion that other people are not hardworking as you. So because of that notion that you want to create, you always try to go the extra mile. Sometimes the extra mile is not even needed, but because of that perception you want to create in the workplace, you end up becoming overwhelmed, and you also notice that you won't be able to achieve that balance or harmony between your personal life and then your professional life. Yeah.
Right. Very, very important because I mean sometimes we try to impress and then
Right.
we end up suffering at the end of the day.
That's very
And so
true.
that's a very important thing. Now the workplace. Maybe this will be my last but one question, and then we can
Okay.
go. The workplace is changing very fast. We know of
Mm.
remote work, flexible hours, technology, and all of that. Looking into the future, how do you see organizations evolving to support this idea of harmony?
Any organization that will not buy into this concept of harmony will soon close down or collapse.
Mm.
Let me use the younger generation as an example. A younger generation these days, we don't really like this concept of working from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. We don't like that concept. Why do you want me to spend more than 8 hours there? Can't I do the thing at home?
Mm.
So remote work is gradually becoming a non-negotiable aspect when it comes to every organization. So every organization that is not willing to create that harmony, that balance for employees, that organization will not see the what's the expression? Will
The
not
light
actually
of
thrive.
day.
Let me start here. Will not thrive. Yes, see the light of the day. Thank you very
Mm.
much for that expression.
Mm.
So it is essential. We have to embed it into our culture. If not, we may lose the younger generation. The older folks may stay, but for the younger generation who have seen remote jobs, that I know someone who's working. I'm just saying, you have a friend who works remotely, working for a company in South Africa in the US, and the person is getting $500 a week, a month, or something. Want me to come and stay in your organization for more than 5 hours a day, my transportation, my feeding. The younger generation will do all of these calculations, notice that it's not worth it. So
Mm.
that's what I can say. We must intentionally embed this remote work, this policy on well-being, policy on this, policy on that, the open door policy, leadership being examples of the harmony or the balance, and then that will ensure that the organization thrives and sees the light of the
Mm.
day.
All right, great. Now, and finally, if you had to leave us with just one life principle, just one. Um, Sorry, I have some messages just before we close.
All right.
Let me just take those messages and then we can go. All right. This one says that I'm enjoying the conversation coming from Isaac. Isaac, you should have told us where you're texting us from, but I mean that is just by the way. And also, let me look at this one from Adom. Adom says that this is a very important topic. Okay, thank you, Adom, for telling us that. And all right, Bridget Yaira says, um, okay, I think here's is a question. It says that what role does mentorship or coaching play in helping people achieve balance? So,
Mm.
Joseph, you may want to touch on that.
Right. So mentorship and coaching are different concepts. Let me use football as an example. It is often said that if, say, I'm currently playing for, let me use Mbappe. I like Mbappe. Let me use Mbappe. Mbappe's coach is Xabi Alonso because he plays for Real Madrid. Now, Xabi will be coaching Mbappe on how he can be a better player, but that is not Mbappe's mentor.
Yeah.
So a coach stays with you for a very short period, but a mentor stays with you for a longer period. A coach may be there for you, say, for a month or two and ensure that you get something done. And after that result has been gotten, he or she will leave you or you will leave that person. A mentor on the flip side is with you almost your entire life. So it was Isaac Newton who said that if I've seen further than others, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants.
Mm.
If I've seen further than others, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. Now, as a young professional, how can you see further than others? It is by identifying a particular person, a particular leader, a particular manager who you have seen modeling this topic of harmony and balance.
Okay.
If whoever you are getting mentorship or coaching from, if that person, him or herself, isn't a model of whatever we are preaching, you end up compounding your issues. So mentoring or coaching will help in a sense that a mentor can look at you and say that, look, young man, you are overworking yourself.
Mm.
If you do this, if you do that, you die early. this is how you can go about your duty.
Yeah.
First off, do this, do it this way, and at the end of the week, send me a report. That person will keep an eye on your progress and also help you bridge the gap between the loopholes that you will find or he or she may find in your life. So it plays a critical role in the sense that what you think is right, that mentor or that coach will let you know that whatever you are doing, it may seem like the right thing, but you end up overdoing yourself or working yourself. And in the end, if you go down, you'll be easily replaced. So mentorship or getting the let me see use that word, getting the right mentorship or the right coaching from a model who is an epitome or who represents the topic on harmony and balance will help you to avoid a number of mistakes, will help you to take a particular path that will ensure that you don't lose yourself and you don't lose your professional life as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, I have some messages also on Facebook. This one says very educative, listening from the UK, coming from Evans Asante. Is that your brother?
That's my brother.
Oh,
actually.
okay. All right. Family support. That's a very good one. Thank you very much, Evans, for listening to us all the way from the UK. And he also says insightful. Sorry, he said insightful. Okay, so we'll wrap up now. Joseph, so tell us finally, if you had to leave us with just one life principle, maybe one guiding thought for actually sustaining harmony between personal and professional goals, what would it be?
Wow, that's a difficult one. One life principle. I would say being yourself.
Okay.
Being yourself and having a routine. What does that mean? Be yourself in the sense that Ralph Waldo Emerson, he once said that to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you someone else or something else is the greatest achievement. I'll say it again. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else or someone else is the greatest achievement. And this concept of harmony and balance, if you want to be yourself, sometimes you end up, or if you don't know yourself too much, you end up comparing yourself with someone else. And this person is able to work for more than 13 hours, yet that person doesn't have migraine, doesn't have headache, doesn't have health issues. This person goes for a weekend getaway. So you are not really being yourself. Maybe yourself could mean that on a weekend you just go to a pub, just buy a bottle of Coke or whatever, and watch football, watch Premier League, watch La Liga. But because you also want to have a harmonious life like other people, trying to travel, trying to do this and that, you end up losing yourself. Be yourself also in the sense that once you notice that someone is working for, say, just 3 hours, but the person gets, say, $7,000, you also want to try and work for just 3 hours, and that your 3 hours is very different from that person's 3 hours. So to be yourself in this fast evolving world will be the greatest achievement. And to crown it all is the routine I mentioned earlier. John C. Maxwell once asserted that the secret to success is found in your daily routine.
Right.
The secret to success is found in your daily routine. So if you can have a routine every day as a personal goal, I'll exercise for 15 minutes. I will do this. If you believe in a supreme being, you pray to that supreme being. I'll watch a movie. I'll read a book. I'll listen to a podcast on a daily basis, whether I feel like it or not. These two principles, being yourself and having a routine, will eventually help you to become the best version of yourself and achieve the harmony between your personal life and your professional life.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much, Joseph. What an enriching conversation. Really, really grateful that you made time this morning, and thanks for sharing those thoughts with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you to all our listeners for their messages and then their thoughtful words. Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.